There we go. I don't know. What did you just do?
You had to click the add to stream button.
Where's that?
It was on the over this.
Oh, okay. All right. I do something every week. It's so funny. I'm still learning. Hi, everybody. I am Ida Pearl-Lee, and this is Light a Joint with Ida. And today I have Kat Ebert with me.
Hello, everyone.
How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm better now that you're here.
Yeah, I've missed you.
I
haven't seen you in a long time.
I know. The last couple of months have been crazy. I know crazy for me. I know crazy for you. So
yeah.
But I'm just glad that we're back together now.
I know. I always have so much fun with you.
Me too. And I'm so grateful that you asked me to be a part of your show.
Absolutely.
So thank you.
Yes.
Happy to be here.
Thank you. So can you tell me, what is Kat Ebert passionate about?
A lot of things. But I guess to start, I am really passionate about ending wars, and that's multiple different wars, like the war on drugs, the war on consciousness, the war on human rights, the war on reproductive freedoms, the war on bodily autonomy, and all of these wars. I'm passionate about ending them. And that's why I am a drug policy activist, and a pleasure activist, and social justice warrior, I guess you could say.
I love that. You're wanting to bring change into your own physical reality, and you're wanting to change that for others around you.
Definitely. I definitely have a very collectivist mindset. But yeah, and I'm also passionate about, on a more, I guess, personal level, I'm very passionate about music, as well as research and science. I graduated last year from Michigan State University with a neuroscience degree and a minor in pharmacology and toxicology.
Okay, so back it up hold on. What exactly is a neuroscience degree?
So I got a bachelor's degree in neuroscience, so it's the study of the brain. And then my minor was in pharmacology and toxicology, and that's the study of how pharmacology is the study of how drugs interact with the human body. So I want to continue my education I haven't figured out fully what I want to do. Right. Might include med school, definitely going to include a PhD, but my passion really does lie with neuropsychopharmacology, which is the study of how psychoactive substances interact with the brain.
Okay.
And specifically, I'm interested in researching various psychoactive substances that are classified as psychedelics to treat various different mental health disorders like depression, anxiety. I really want to focus on addiction personally. So, yeah.
Nice. How do you think you're going to be able to bring about some of those changes?
So there's two fronts. There's the policy side by, lobbying lawmakers and, passing ballot initiatives, resolutions through city council, whatever it may be. There's the policy side of actually changing the laws. And then there is the medical and research side of, I guess, proving with data that these substances are helpful and useful. And also just to kind of figure out what they're doing, because we still, the scientific community still knows very little about the mechanism of action of basically all of the classical psychedelics. 5-HT2A, serotonin receptor. That's about it.
It's really interesting to me that, again, pharmacology is only about 200 years old, and it stems from plant medicines.
Yeah, it does.
And we have been denied access in understanding, what actually these medicines can do and how they can help us and flourish. And it's really kind of sad that it's all been monopolized and we're guinea pigs.
Demonized.
Yeah.
So it is sad. And I mean, there was so much amazing research taking place in the 60s and even in the 70s. And then it was early 70s. And then it was, drug
Everything
war.
was just
full.
kiboshed.
Yeah, and
You're done.
Everyone went to prison, and the counterculture revolution, I guess you could say, was kind of squashed.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah, we were all just squished.
Yeah.
What do you got today that we're gonna roll?
So this is, I actually just found this. So this is crunch berries from Pure Options, I think.
Crunch berry. I love all of these different names.
I know.
So cool.
Back in the med days, there were so many different names of strains. I loved, I remember Alaskan Thunderfuck the first time I ever saw that in the dispensary. That. And I was like, I gotta try it.
Try that. Right?
I want to try it, yeah.
Why
what does a Thunderfuck feel like? And why is it Alaskan?
Right, exactly.
So.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
So
also,
do you remember? Oh, go ahead.
Just real quick.
Yeah.
Shout out to Happy Monkey in New York City. Great little cannabis lounge.
Wow.
Dispensary in the works.
Okay.
Got
New York City, huh?
Yeah.
That's where we're going next. That
would be awesome.
Join me next Monday.
From the top of the Empire State Building.
Oh my gosh.
Ida Pearl Lee reporting live. Hey, it's legal to smoke in New York City now, so.
Hey man, let's go.
Which was awesome. Because it's not like here where you can go in your backyard and smoke a joint. It's
well, I do, but.
Well, no, but it's.
I know what you're saying.
There's no backyards,
I know.
So you got to find a stoop.
You do have to find a stoop.
But there's something really, that's my favorite way to smoke joints, on a stoop in a city.
Yeah.
It's just something about it.
I know. Well, and that's why I prefer, joints. I like the way that it tastes. I like the how fast the effects I feel, the duration of it. With other things like vape pens and stuff, I'm not a huge fan of vape pens. They make my throat kind of raw. And I cough a lot with them too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It depends for me on the mood. And it's nice to take a vape pen when you're traveling.
Oh.
Because it's just much easier to, transport. Are you talking about a
true
like this kind?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Shout out Element. Best carts.
They do have good carts. I will say that. Do you need are you gonna use your bong?
Oh no,
we've never had a bong before.
We can if
you can do whatever you want.
I was just
not gonna say no.
I just grabbed it because it's just kind of just habitual at this point.
Right.
So no, but
do you want a filter or do you want to? Are you gonna?
Oh, are we? Yeah, I can. I don't have a roller.
Oh, that's okay. So that's okay.
Yeah.
I'll roll those joints.
Okay. Cool. I did.
Neither one of us know how to roll by hand, so.
Well, I kind of do. Juan recently taught me.
Hey, Juan.
/ kind of forced me to learn. Because he was like, I'm always rolling the joints. And I was like, I never had to learn. All my friends know how to roll joints.
So I'll sit down and I'll roll 5 to 6 joints for the day. And I have this little case that I carry around with me. And
amazing.
I'm good to go.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The rollers are nice for music festivals, especially.
Yes.
And Electric Forest is coming up.
So we met about 3 years ago at the summer annual.
Yeah.
Briefly. And then we reconnected.
Yes.
At a ceremony.
Yes.
You want to talk about that?
I would love to. So Ida and I reconnected at both of our, I apologize, I live next to the highway. It's probably loud, but
we're live.
But yeah, we met at an ayahuasca ceremony that took place in Washtenaw County, Michigan, where it is decriminalized. So that was super cool. For anyone that doesn't know the difference, decriminalized doesn't mean that it's legal, because there's no regulation and there's no taxes, but it just means that people don't go to prison anymore for a nonviolent drug offense, because no one should go to prison for a nonviolent drug offense. Anyways, so we met at this ayahuasca ceremony, and I will never forget, because we were in the little storage room where everyone's keeping their stuff, and we had just come out of sharing circle, and I don't even know how MICIA came up.
I looked at you and I said, I know you from somewhere. You look really familiar to me. And you were like, you do too. And then I think you said MICIA. And I was like,
oh, it was your
what?
bag.
Oh, that's
It was an
right.
MICIA bag.
That's
I was
right.
like, oh, I was at that, I was there.
Yep.
And you were like, oh, I worked there. So it was.
It's funny how we had to go to a ceremony to reconnect, though.
I know.
Forget the work event.
Yeah, for real. But it was, I meant to be.
Oh, yes.
For sure.
So what exactly does SSDP stand for?
Oh, I don't think I've even talked about SSDP yet. So
we have plenty of time. It's only 11:11. 11:11.
Angel numbers. So SSDP is Students for Sensible Drug Policy, and we are a youth-led global drug policy organization. We were founded in 1997 as a small group of students at some schools in the East Coast that wanted to legalize and decriminalize cannabis.
Okay.
We started as a cannabis-centered kind of organization because, this is 1997, when I was born also.
Okay.
Yeah. And so this is, cannabis is really, that's what people are talking about. That's it's hard for me as a young person. I'm 24 years old. It's hard for me to picture a place that was so, I grew up with it, but I started smoking weed when I was 17. And then I got my med card when I was 18. So yeah,
it's been, you grew up with it more in your culture than not in your culture. Where
exactly.
We were just talking, earlier, I grew up in a time frame where it was the war on drugs and
Nixon, just say no.
it was decriminalized, or it was criminalized, and it didn't matter who you were or what you did. And again, that's the thing, we all have our own traumas. It doesn't matter. We have to be there to support each other.
We do.
And let each other know that it's okay and we're here for you and we love you. And
definitely.
Yeah.
So
I think that's what plant medicines do, is they just help us reconnect.
Oh, I agree, with each other and also with ourselves. And there's a lot of, I think that sex, drugs, and music are going to save the world. So, but you asked me about SSDP. SSDP is Students for Sensible Drug Policy. I started my chapter. We're made up of students all across the globe, although about 2 years ago, SSDP International was born, which is they focus on non-US countries. And so now we kind of just focus on the US. But I started my chapter at Michigan State University in November 2018.
Oh, you started that chapter? Wow, congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So it was...
See, you are making sacrifices.
Well, thank you. But it was... I started my chapter, and I'll never forget going to the first SSDP conference, and actually the only one I've gotten to go to, because this really crazy thing happened where this virus took over the world and everything shut down and people were locked inside for months. You'll never believe it, but
it was called COVID, right?
I think so.
Damn.
The pandemic Lovato.
Yeah.
So I'll never forget though, walking in and seeing all these young people from literally all over the world talking about drug policy and the future of what a post-prohibition world would look like. And there is a session, so you want to become a psychedelic assisted therapist. And to meet all of these people that were like-minded young people that all came from all different backgrounds. And everyone, we're all students, everyone's studying something, and it's very different. my chapter has like some forestry majors and like a lot of, my chapter was very STEM heavy. But you know, that's probably because I'm a STEM major, but yeah, it was just cool to like finally meet people like me for the first time, where I was like, oh my gosh, like not alone.
Right.
Like,
right.
this is,
well, you found your tribe, you found your peeps.
I did.
Yeah.
And I ran for the board of directors of the organization, because as a youth-led organization, 2/3 of our board of directors are students. And I was elected in 2020. And then in April of this year, I was elected as chair of the board of directors.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So
I love how you've graduated and you're still continuing, you know, to do what you can.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah, I'm never going to stop being a drug policy activist, and I'll never stop being an SSDPer. Mm-hmm. Obviously, after my term is up this year, like I won't be a student yet. I will go back to school, just like not yet.
Well, you've got time. You just graduated, for Pete's sake.
Oh yeah, and also it's like it's really hard to make plans as a young person, because it's like, how long do we have before like 1,048 days or something before like the planet becomes uninhabitable for like 10% of the population, something like that.
Yeah.
How long before that? How long before I don't have reproductive freedom in my own country? How long before, or my state for that matter? Everyone that's watching, if you have a uterus, your rights are not protected in the state of Michigan if Roe v. Wade is overturned. Yay. Not yay.
Well, but these are real issues that, you know, I hate to say this term, young people, but, you know, your generation is dealing with.
Well, yeah, it's like, how can you plan for a future when, like, what does the future even look like? Like, I'm planning for the apocalypse. Not even kidding. Like, I got a team already. Like, it's like, yeah, like that's really what that it's so, and it's hard to like talk to people in older generations that are just like, oh, you know, it's going to be, no, it's not going to be fine. Mm-hmm. It's literally not going to be fine. And like, it's not fair that we didn't choose this life for ourselves. Right. We didn't choose it. And it like, we're stuck with it. Mm-hmm. So like, I would love to be a mom one day. I would love to see what kind of little weirdo I would create, but
trust me, it's all about karma too.
Yeah. But I genuinely like, I don't want to bring a child into a world that's collapsing. And we are in late stage capitalism entering collapse. So buy a survivalist journal or book, everyone. But yeah, it's hard to plan and have plans for the future, and it's scary. And so it's just kind of like, take it day by day. And no matter what I'm doing, I'm gonna have a good time.
Cheers, by the way.
Cheers. Here, I think I have another lighter somewhere.
Oh, this is fine.
Oh, wait, I gotta.
Oh, here.
Sorry.
Relight. Well, I think it's amazing with, you know, everything that you're doing. So for SSDP, how does somebody get involved with that? Is it just for college students or?
So students and young people can, we do need, like, you don't need to be a student to be involved. We have like various different, you can be a community member and like volunteer with a chapter. It's the only reason that we use school funding for a lot of the chapter work. You know, we take advantage of that system in place because historically people don't want to invest in young people.
Right. And
so like, it's always been a struggle to raise money.
Which is crazy to me because you are our future.
You look at people like I mean, Chris Crane, and who's like the founder of Forefront, huge, like big in cannabis in the Midwest. You look at Chris Lottlicker, the deputy director of MAPS, the Multidisciplinary Association for Psychedelic Studies. Like those are two founders of SSDP. And it's like, those are just like two people that have done amazing things in the space. And I'm not naming so many others. Like It's great. I mean, like Mike Williams. I'm sure that someone that is watching this or will watch this will know the name Michael Williams. Okay. That's like SSDP board director, Decriminalized Nature Michigan co-director, like
Hi, Mike.
long time drug policy. One of my favorite humans ever, but I can't go down that rabbit hole. I'll talk about Mike forever. But yeah, it's just like the coolest people that you meet in SSDP. And it's also like, I think I'm a really great example of like what SSDP actually does for a young person.
Okay.
Because like I entered SSDP because I wanted to study psychedelics, and I was like, it would be way easier to do that if it's legal. And then I found SSDP, and I was like, oh my God, there's already like a thing that exists. This is so cool. And then I entered as a psychedelic exceptionalist.
What's that mean?
Psychedelic exceptionalism is the belief that psychedelics are like inherently better than like other substances, non-psychedelic substances.
Okay.
And it's the belief that like, and when you say that something is better than another drug, you are automatically stigmatizing that drug.
Mm-hmm.
And so, because this is going to sound crazy to a lot of people, but no drug at the proper dose and the proper setting with the proper harm reduction resources and education is bad inherently.
Mm-hmm.
And I will reference Dr. Carl Hart, tenured neuropsychopharmacologist, professor and research scientist at Columbia. In his book, Drug Use for Grownups, he came out as an open heroin user. And he's also like a world-renowned tenured professor,
I have read about him.
highly public. And yeah, and like he doesn't have a problem with it. Like he doesn't have a substance use disorder.
Right.
And his whole argument is that when you're a grown-up, and he goes into his definition of a grown-up, meaning that it's not just based on your age, it's based on your like emotional maturity. Are you at a financially stable point? Can you support yourself and your family? Like
Right.
You need to be,
a contributing member of society.
Exactly.
Yes.
And drugs are not bad. They're really not. You know the deadliest drug? What do you think the deadliest drug is? Just guess.
The deadliest drug?
Yep.
Oxycontin.
You're wrong.
Ooh.
Alcohol. By a big shot.
You know what?
Alcohol is the only drug that you can die from withdrawals.
Oh, shit. Okay. I didn't realize you could actually die from
opioid withdrawals, I've heard they are hell on earth.
Mm-hmm.
Like the worst thing ever, but you won't die.
Okay.
You're just going to be
think
really
you're
uncomfortable. Yeah. You just feel like shit.
Wow. But with alcohol,
you can actually die.
Your system just shuts down.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, yeah. And it's like when you look
and
at
and that's the thing that's the most accepted. It's in
tobacco.
Every household. It's everywhere. And you want to talk about gateway drug.
Yeah. It's advertised, and you can't. We look at all of the marketing for the beer industry and the liquor industry and, the wine industry even. And it's like, then you look at the cannabis industry and the strict fucking rules on all advertising. No fruit. Yes. No.
No cartoons, which I get the cartoon angle.
No, but like animation. It's animation.
Well, here's the thing. Okay. So when they first came out with this rule, my 17-year-old, he was 15 at the time. He was like,
did Cushy Punch get in trouble?
I don't know. I can't tell you that.
Oh. Sorry, Cushy Punch, if you watched
that. But he was like, Mom, he's like, if a kid is going to see a gummy, they're going to eat the gummy. Like, it doesn't matter what the packaging looks like. And he's right. I mean, yes, packaging can be flashy and can draw you in.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I mean, you put it right in front of them, who's not going to eat it?
Yeah.
Oh, same thing with alcohol. You put it right in front of them, who's not going to drink it? I mean, the proverbial, locking up the liquor cabinet before the parents leave, no parties, and what happens?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, if I ever do procreate and have offspring, I'm going to be the cool mom, but I'm going to have my own substance safe, but I would rather have, I can use my little cousins for reference. They're like 12 and 14. I would rather have them come here when they're, hopefully, I don't know when they're going to smoke pot or whatever for the first time, but we'll say 16. And I would rather have them come here.
You want them to be safe.
Yeah. Smoke pot with me.
Yeah.
Drink here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to drink with you. I'll smoke pot with you, but I'm not going to drink with you. But do it here.
Yeah.
I know you're safe. You're not going anywhere. That's that, like
Mm-hmm.
any substance that my potential future children will try will be tested.
Mm-hmm.
I want to like really from day one, just like lay that, like, you can be transparent and open and honest with me and you're not going to get in trouble if you want to do drugs. Like, drugs are cool.
Right. Right.
You just got to know how to do them safely. Just want you to be safe.
Well, and it's having those open conversations. Yeah. It's information. It's educating, and it's helping here. And it's allowing all of us to understand, that we can ask certain questions without judgments, or, we're able to do things in a safe place, and again, not be judged and not die. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I mean, because when we try to do it ourselves, then I think the overdoses do happen, and they're not in a safe environment.
Yeah, that is what happens. And there's not, like, it's not easy to get Narcan in naloxone, and like, it's not, there's, the system is set. Everyone always says that the system, or not everyone, but a bunch of people are now like waking up and they're like, the system is broken. And let me tell you all something. That shit's not broken. It's working exactly the way it's supposed to. And it has been since day one. The system works to keep the people that are in positions of power in those positions of power. It works to benefit a certain group of people and leave everyone else behind.
Yeah.
So we can't fix something that's not broken. You just have to burn it down and start over.
Right. Well, yeah.
Can I
there you go.
Burn it down like a joint,
Well, yeah, again, it's just it's
I don't necessarily mean a full blown. I'm not mean necessarily.
I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying, but I'm just it's getting the older generation to, again, be open-minded and understand change is okay.
It is. Change is the only constant in our lives.
Exactly. What does MAPS again stand for?
The Multidisciplinary Association for Psychedelic Studies.
And how did that start or come about? Do you know?
Like how the company?
How did they create themselves?
So Rick Doblin, back in the 70s, 80s. I honestly don't know. Sorry, I'm not good at times that I wasn't alive.
Well,
but
that's okay. Around that time frame.
Around there.
The 70s.
Rick, it's actually a phenomenal story of how he got the idea, but I don't want to take that away from him.
Mm-hmm.
And I heard that he was the keynote speaker at the SSDP conference and told us the story. To summarize,
nice.
He had a crazy acid trip on his 21st birthday and thought he was going to die, but then he wasn't actually going to die and was totally fine. And then he was like, oh, what do I want to do with my life? I want to do psychedelic assisted therapy. So he started MAPS, which is a nonprofit, 501c3, and it's dedicated to legalizing psychedelic assisted therapy to treat different mental health issues.
I love that, because I really think a lot of mental health comes from our traumas, our repressed traumas that we shove down, we keep buried, and we just don't deal with, and then it has to manifest. It comes out in other ways, and I really think that's where a lot of our illnesses and sicknesses come from, our autoimmune diseases.
Addiction.
Yeah. I mean, again, if we don't address those emotions that we're feeling and we just keep repressing them, they gotta come out somehow.
They do.
Yeah.
And it's usually not in a healthy way. So yeah.
I think it's awesome that that you're so young and that you're embarking on all of this change.
Well, thank you. Sometimes I do have to like put that in perspective, because I'm like, I'm not doing enough. But yeah, what was I going to say? Oh, so MAPS in like 2013 or 14, somewhere around there, MAPS Public Benefit Corporation was born, MAPS PBC, and that is a clinical research company that is funded 100% by MAPS, the 501c3 nonprofit.
Oh, wow.
So all donations to MAPS like get funneled to, they do have their own like staff, small staff, but most of it is funneled, a very large majority is funneled into MAPS PBC for, we're currently in phase 3 trials of MDMA assisted therapy for PTSD. Clinical trials. Phase 3 is the last phase before you can apply for a new drug application with the FDA, and then they will review all of your data and either approve or deny the medication.
Oh, wow.
So we've had some really promising results from phase 2.
So does this organization work primarily off of donations then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like 100% off donations. Until MDMA is like legalized, we don't have like a revenue source other than donations, because we're a public benefit corporation. And so like the mission is to get as many people as possible access to psychedelic assisted therapy to treat their trauma. And specifically, MAPS really is focusing on trying to get more outreach into like Black and brown communities with like racialized trauma. But then there's a caveat, because there's not a lot of Black and brown therapists in the psychedelic space. And yeah, you can't.
Well, and again, it's hard to relate to somebody who doesn't look like you.
Yep.
Just be honest about it.
Yep. It's hard to relate to someone who, it's hard to relate to someone, for me, someone else that doesn't have a uterus.
Right. Who's not a woman.
Yeah. And I say uterus because, I have a lot of trans male friends that is interesting. The first time I realized that like they still have a uterus.
Right.
And I was like, oh, that's whack.
Well, inherently, yeah, I get that.
But in my brain, I was like, they're a man.
Right.
But anyways, but yeah, people with uteruses, or femme perceived people, is a term I like to use. There's just, you can't teach a man about reproductive rights oppression. You can't.
They only know how to control it.
Yeah, well, it's just like,
because again, it's not their body.
Yeah, you can't teach. It's hard to teach a man about male privilege unless it's hard to teach a cishet white man about privilege.
Okay, so let's talk about that for just a second, because we talked about that earlier. So it was brought to my attention. After Bella had passed away, I went out to Texas for a month. I just had to leave life. And I took cannabis with me all the way to Texas. I smoked the entire time I was in Texas, and I drove back. And it wasn't until it was brought to my attention, well, you did what? You can't do that. And I was like, what do you mean? Why not?
Yeah.
There was never a thought. There was never anything in my mind, like I couldn't do this. Like
I'm not
I'd
going to
get in trouble. There was none of that. I just did my thing. I went about my business.
No. And I've been there too before with like flying with like pot before, like domestically. And never anywhere that didn't, like Michigan to California. So it was like, but my partner is a Latino man, and he was like, I could never, like, he was like, how do you do that?
Right.
And I was like, I recognize my privilege and like, I'll just fly with the weed for us, you know, like we'll put it in my bag.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it is real. It's a real thing. And until you're actually like able to recognize it, you don't understand it. And it's hard to recognize it when other people are doing it. So it's interesting. It's all about perspective. That's for sure.
It is. And I work in a space like SSDP is a primarily Black and brown led organization, both staff and board. So I work in a space with a lot of people of color, and I've become very aware of my implicit biases and like done a lot of work to I guess like combat those and override those. But like, yeah, like even things like white women's tears, and I don't know if you've ever heard of white women's tears. So it's, do you ever see like those viral videos of like the women that like are crazy, like the Karens that are just like being like racist and like will start crying and screaming about like nothing?
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Okay, I guess I haven't really paid that much attention to them.
There's like white women's tears is basically this thing that happens where white women will often, when confronted about implicit bias, whether that's implicit racism or even internalized misogyny or whatever it may be, they often deflect and then start crying. And then that usually gains like an emotional like pity, like it's like they become the victim. It's manipulative. It is. And it's like it's very harmful, and very harmful to people of color. And it happens a lot with a lot of things. And so it's like, yeah, just stuff like that. White women have a very special kind of privilege. We do. And it's, you have to recognize it and really go deep with it, and then use that power for good. Because like, there's literally a website called Karens for Hire. I'm not kidding. Look up Karens for Hire. Yeah. No, you can hire a Karen to call and take care of, call a manager, get something returned for you. Someone got like an extra like $4,000 off their mortgage or something. I don't know how mortgages work, so I don't know. But there's like all kinds of crazy stuff. You can hire a Karen, like there's all these testimonials are the best part, because you like see what people like actually did. And like, like they've had people like, there was like a Black couple that hired a Karen to go do like a showing of their house or something. And then the offer was like way more,
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And so like, but it's using your power for good. That's what I mean by that. Like, recognize your privilege. And like, we still, as women, are oppressed. We're still living in oppression.
And we shouldn't be keeping each other down either.
No, we should be lifting each other up.
Yeah.
So 100%. So yeah, it's
that's interesting.
Yeah, I lost my train of thought at the end there, but
well, we were just talking about Karens and privilege.
Karens for Hire. Check them out, y'all. The testimonials are just like my favorite thing.
What led you into your cannabis journey?
Okay, so I was 17 years old, and so actually my partner now, Juan, was the first person to ever get me high. And
hi, Juan.
Yeah, hi, Juan. And we used an Airizer Solo vape.
And what's that?
I actually have it.
I've never heard of that.
I actually have it. I'll be right back. It's worth it, I promise.
She promises it's worth it.
Okay, here we go.
Okay.
This is an Airizer Solo.
Airizer Solo.
Look at that bad boy.
So what's it do?
So it's like a dry herb vape. So this
Oh.
is like where you would put the pot.
Okay.
And then you put it in here. This is broken. There's usually like a little tip, but.
Okay.
And then, yeah, you like turn it on. I don't think it has any charge.
So I like the vaporizers better because because you can use real flower.
Yeah, and then you have like your ABV that you can put into making edibles and stuff. Apparently, I've never done it. We have a whole jar over there because Juan's like, we'll do it.
Okay. You have to let me know.
I will. He's the chef, not me. So
yeah.
But
so he's the one that you got high with the first time.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I smoked weed with that like I had this this group of friends. I guess you could say we were little stoners, but when I was 18, I got my med card for chronic pain because I was a gymnast for 13 years, and it fucked up my back.
Took a toll on your body.
It did.
Yeah. That's a lot of pounding.
It's not kind to your body, but it's so fun. It's like the most amazing high I've ever felt. Like no drug I don't think could ever.
Oh, adrenaline high is the best.
Yeah.
I agree with you. Yes.
So.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, and then I got my med card when I was 18 years old, and
how did your parents feel?
Oh, I was like grounded in high school for basically like the last 2 years of high school because like I could never drive because I never passed a drug test because they like grounded me from prom and stuff because they found like weed in my room and this like really nice vape that I had just bought, like dry herb vape. It was like $200. I saved up all my money from tutoring. I ordered it to my friend's house. I had to go to Diamonddale to pick that shit up.
You didn't hide
My
it
brother
enough.
did a dab while he was recovering from surgery and got knocked the fuck out in the front seat of our car we had to share. I have a twin brother. It was an adventure, and I got this thing, and then I just couldn't wait. I couldn't wait until the morning. Nope. I just had to try it out in my room. Idiot.
Yeah.
It's fine. They found it. My dad destroyed it. And I was like, you could have sold it. Like, or just kept it or not taken my stuff. Right. But anyways, they didn't like weed at all.
Well, again,
drug war era,
it's
propaganda,
the time frame that they grew up
conditioning, So, but it's like kind of funny now because like I went to school. I have degrees in studying how drugs interact with the body and the brain. So I'll never forget the moment that my parents realized that they couldn't tell me that drugs were bad because because I knew more than them and I was a drug policy activist. And it was kind of just like that moment of like, shit, like she's an adult, like, oh, fuck, now we have to listen to her, So, but yeah, since then I've gotten my dad I've educated my dad, and he now agrees with me that the war on drugs is bullshit and we need to end it, and that drugs are not inherently bad. So I would say we have some good progress. He doesn't believe in white privilege, but we'll get there.
One day at a time.
One day. I love you, Dad. If you're watching, you probably will never see this, but
you never know.
You never know.
Never say never.
But yeah, so that was how I started with pot, and then once I like consistently started smoking, I just never really stopped.
It was your go-to.
Yeah.
Do you think you were self-medicating?
Definitely. And also I have ADHD.
Okay.
And it's so helpful for me to like finish a task. And it's so helpful for me to like,
focus.
Yeah, it just like slows my brain down a little bit, that enough to like finish one thought before the next one comes in,
Mm-hmm.
So
I do understand that because I've never considered myself like a high strung person. I totally am. I think anybody who knows me will say that. But yeah.
I wouldn't say maybe you think that you're high strung.
Well, I think I've calmed down quite a bit, and it's from
Okay.
cannabis.
Oh, okay. So I haven't known you for that long. I mean, it's 3 years. But yeah. I haven't known you since before you cannabis journey.
No, and with Bella, I mean, it was the fight or flight. I was constantly in that adrenaline rush where, any given day, is this the day she's going to die? And so there was, there was a lot of high strongness.
Totally.
A lot of anxiety.
A lot of cortisol, a lot of stress.
Yeah. So that's cool. So it's definitely helping you then.
Definitely. And I also my brain constantly is craving stimulation, just like ADHD. That's how mine manifests.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's helpful to have. That's why I also have a vape. I know I'm my generation, the epidemic, but I know it's not good for me, but neither's the air that we breathe or the food that we eat. So, it's fine.
Well, you know what? It doesn't matter. You are doing what is important for you. And what matters to you. And all I'm going to do is sit here and love you for you and support you.
Thank you.
No judgments.
Thank you. And I'm going to love you for you. No judgment.
You. Yeah.
But that was the start of my cannabis journey. And then I was low-key supplying all of South campus or South neighborhood on campus from dispensaries. I used to go to Emerald City. I don't know if you ever knew Emerald City back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
Back in the day, med card days. I'm sorry for everyone that didn't get a med card. I know that was also that is a privileged position because also you need to have healthcare to then go to the doctor and then get a diagnosis, and there's a bunch of barriers. But that shit was dope. Okay, because it was there was I think I counted one time just to see, and I counted 17 different dispensaries on a 1.5 mile stretch on Cedar.
Oh my goodness.
And I was it was insane. 420 in med only days.
Oh
my God. You got free shit. Every time you would go somewhere, you got free shit. And it was
well, it was so much easier to hand out free stuff.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
And everybody was more willing to share. It's hey, try this. I just made this.
I know. I used to go in and you'd be hey, go test these out. We just got some new stuff. And I was yeah.
Oh yeah.
One of my old gymnastics teammates was a bud tender there. So yeah.
Well, and that's the thing that people, again, the average consumer doesn't understand about the recreational side versus the medical side.
Yeah.
Is a lot of the medical products were tailored, for their patients.
Yeah.
And not all of them made the same products, so, you might have to go for one, caregiver for one thing and then to another one for a tincture. I mean, and there's nothing wrong with that. But again, it's understanding, it does have a medicinal purpose and value.
Yeah.
And we need to keep that alive.
Yeah. And that is capitalism.
Mm-hmm.
That's capitalism for you folks. Because where there's money to be made, that's where we live in a profit over people society.
Mm-hmm.
That's the truth in every respect. Even the medical community is, I talked to someone who graduated from med school 2 or 3 years ago, and she was that was business school.
Yes.
That was not.
Yeah.
Well,
it's funded by the pharmacies.
And that's why MAPS is so awesome, and MAPS PBC, because we are not a big pharma company. We are the only pharmaceutical company that I know that exists that is 100% funded by a nonprofit.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no other private stakeholders or anything.
That's incredible. That's really cool.
Yeah, it's hard.
It's very hard. Very hard.
It's hard. It's
If someone wants to donate, where would they go to donate? Do you know?
Yes, I do.
We can put the link up too.
Yes.
in the comments.
And I'm also going to encourage everyone to donate to SSDP before you donate to MAPS. And here's the reason why. I don't even know how many SSDPers that are employees at the company. Basically, what SSDP does is it sets you up to be like people. You want to hire SSDPers, okay? You really do, because we're going to make your company not only look good, but actually work good, and also educate everyone. Like there's a lot of reasons, and I'm a little high. But yeah.
This is Letta Joint Wakeda.
This is Letta Joint Wakeda. But
You're
yeah,
doing good.
Please do donate to SSDP because we are in a bit of a financial crisis.
Mm-hmm.
Like in big time. But it's, the pandemic was hard for all nonprofits.
Mm-hmm.
And also in the past, we used to get a lot of money from cannabis companies we're responsible for every single successful legalization campaign in this country. Every single one of them. Their SSDP played a part, whether it was small with like a chapter or even just one or two SSDPers volunteering, or whether it was we were actually paying and contracting someone to spearhead the campaign. Like Prop 1, Nick Sattel. Nick Sattel is an SSDPer. I miss him.
I know. He's a cool guy.
He's so great. But yeah, so it's just like we are the future. We are the next generation, and we are also 100% donation funded. Mm-hmm. And it's like a lot of times the chapters will get individual donations, and they can get funding from the schools and stuff. Mm-hmm. And then the national org is responsible for creating, all the stickers and all the shirts and all of the, our little handouts, our Know Your Rights cards, and how to not give consent to a search if you're pulled over by a police officer in a way that won't escalate them.
Okay. Which is, I think everyone should know how to do that.
Yeah, I have
no
that
matter
shit.
No matter what.
Yeah,
is going on.
Exactly.
I think just having that knowledge.
Yeah, 100%. And we have those little cards. They're just like little cards that mine's just stuck up in my little whatever visor thing.
I'll have to get one from you.
Yeah, and all of that stuff is funded by the national org, mm-hmm. And so. Yeah, we lost a lot of cannabis donors because we legalized it, and mm-hmm. then they were like, and
right.
That's starting to shift because people are starting to realize that Gen Z, my generation,
the importance.
We don't fuck around. We're the no bullshit generation, and we will come for your company. Okay, so if you're
I'm not sure what that means, but
if you're being harmful, and but no, also we will, promote your products. We are currently looking for a sponsor to sponsor a venue for our Midwest Regional Conference. And that person or company would get, their own panel or space to do whatever they want.
Okay. And what's that sponsorship look like?
So we're looking, it doesn't have to necessarily be a monetary amount. Mm-hmm. We do have some corporate sponsorship programs, and I'm happy to, drop my email. And if anyone wants to discuss any kind of corporate sponsorship partnership with SSDP, we can set up a call. That's kind of one of my duties as the chair. So with the limited amount of staff that we have, because we don't have a development team, mm-hmm. But
you're getting there.
Yeah, we will. Yeah. But we're also looking for donations we were hoping to have it in or near Detroit. So any kind of venue that could host max 200 people, mm-hmm. For one day. We're looking September 17th.
Okay. We'll put out those feelers.
The day before NPO Fest.
Oh, nice.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then also, if anyone has a party bus or another bus, that they want to maybe move us from,
that wants to be included with the sponsorship.
Doesn't have to be included. We can
You can work
get a
something
bunch
out
of
on side.
sponsors, But also, we are the next generation, and we are like a national org. So if your company wants to go national, once we, SSDP, and like normal, once we deschedule cannabis federally, and your company can go to other states, multi-state, we already have people to advertise for you, like you have,
Nice.
So, but anyways, I'm high and trying to give a pitch. It's not really working, but
well, it's all right. You did good.
Thank you.
Yes. Donate to SSDP, and I'll post the link.
Thank you. So yeah.
Do you feel like you're living your life's mission, your purpose?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or at least I'm on my way to it.
Nice.
I haven't fully figured it out yet, and sometimes that freaks me out. But then I'm like, I'm 24.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, you graduated during the pandemic too.
Yeah. That was terrible.
I can't even imagine.
That was online remote classes weren't that terrible, to be quite honest. At least for me, my attendance was way better. But the option of not having the option to go in and ask questions or even just leave your house and go somewhere else, and then to have like the normal stress of exams, but then like your like last final exams, where it's like I have to pass these classes or like I'm gonna have to take more school here. Yeah. Just so everyone's aware, I paid $20,000 for 3 semesters of YouTube videos and video lectures.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I paid $20,000 to teach myself a bunch of different things. There was like a few that were okay. But anyways, like...
So it was just a completely different style.
Yeah.
Dynamic.
The one nice thing is that MSU offered the option to do pass-fail. For like, you could either take a passing grade, like a satisfactory or unsatisfactory is what it was called.
Mm-hmm.
And for each class though.
Okay.
So it was like any class I got a 3.5 or higher, I kept that to boost my GPA,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Anything under that, I took a pass.
Okay.
So, and it didn't impact my GPA.
Okay.
That was nice.
Mm-hmm.
But it was also just like the normal stress of being a student and going to school and having exams and
trying to graduate, trying to figure out what you're going to do moving forward.
And then also having this constant anxiety of like, I'm immunocompromised.
Mm.
And so this constant anxiety of like, if I get this, I will probably die,
Aww.
Like early days, I was like, "Ooh, I don't think I'm coming out of that,"
Oh, honey.
So it was that was also a very like, woo, okay, cool.
Well, I'm glad that, you were able to.
Yeah, no. And I did
make your peace with it,
Yeah.
Because that's again, it's just, it was the unknown. We didn't really know what was going on.
And I still haven't gotten it. And I really attribute that to like, I work remote. I don't really leave my apartment that much.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But regardless of that, yeah, so it was
graduated.
I did. I fucking did that
Congratulations.
shit.
Yes.
I got to walk, but it was 8 a.m. outside in the Breslin Center parking lot. It was 34 degrees.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's a little
I
chilly.
sprained my ankle because I was drunk and missed a step at my friend's house like 7 hours before I was before I walked across the stage.
Oh no.
And so I was wearing a boot. I brought a blanket. I wore sweatpants and a sweatshirt under my gown.
And went and got your diploma.
No makeup. I went out there. I had my mask on. It said vote. I got my picture was terrible. I was like, who hired this photographer? The sun, you couldn't even see me. The sun was like, you know, when the sun gets in the lens. I was like, I'm not paying for this. So yeah, I got my fake ass diploma, walked across the stage, didn't get to shake any hands or anything like that, of course. Just a little, you know, nice to thanks. Never don't even know you, whoever you are. And then went back to bed.
Nice.
And then later I got up and, you know, did the makeup and the
celebrated.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good for you though. Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm just glad to be done for a little bit.
Well, again, you're 24. You've got the whole rest of your life ahead of you. Take your time. Don't be in a rush.
The whole rest of my life.
The whole rest.
But how long is that?
You got to trust it. You got to trust that no matter what, everything's going to work out.
Yeah.
You got to trust it. I know it's hard. We are at 12:01.
All right. Well, thank you so much for having me. This was lovely.
Thank you so much for joining me. I loved learning more about SSDP and MAPS and your journey too. I love hanging out with you, spending time with you.
I love hanging out.
You're a cool chick.
You're a cool chick.
Well, thank you everyone for joining us. Next week I will be on again. Still trying to line up I think I have somebody lined up. Yeah. I'll announce it. Take care, everybody. See you later.
Bye.
End the broadcast.